Peace. My name is James Deshaun Telfair. I'm from the Montgomery County region of Georgia, which is the southeastern low region of Georgia. And, respectfully, I'm thankful to say that I could possibly be the first and only animator in this region, which is, kudos to me. Um, However, you know, when indulging or pressing forward towards my career, um, I would highly, consider myself a diverse person, someone who loves to work with a team, loves to understand a team of different cultural backgrounds, different ethnicities. I seek out personally to do these things because guess what? I want to be a part of what makes the world great through various backgrounds and ethnicities, just in general as a person. You know, however, as an animator, you know, I always seek to practice and become the best that I can be. In far as like a respective field or discipline, I would consider myself a environmental and character designer, as well as animation, um, you know, producer, someone who loves the three as a you know, well, as in a oneness perspective. Reaching out to employers or anyone who would consider having me and be a part of their team. My main thing is communication, respect, and always looking forward to get the job done. Um, I remember saying that our video shall be in a professional um, area setting. As you may see, on this side, I'm still, in this area where you can see the screws and, panels being set up. This here in particular is my own area that I'm setting up to do animation, and I'm looking forward to establishing a business, you know, it's not just centered around animation, but people coming together and being a part of something greater, and being sure that we master the art of being able to be around and deal with each other. Me personally, I focus on making sure everyone is able to come together, regardless of one's shortcoming or one's advancement. You know, that's one of my main premises. Me as an artist, that's kind of like that's kind of would hope to bring to the table to be able to help produce the most effective and fluid art, form of art, picture of art, whether it's graphic, 3D, 2D, anything that pertains to some kind of promotion or getting a point or business across. That's what I mainly see myself doing and pursuing as a career, is making sure that a job or the job gets done properly and most efficiently as possible. However, what you may see on my art station at Deshaun Telfair, you know, you may see a lot of various things, as far as like, animation, as far as walk cycles or character concepts or various projects that I may have attempted during my education performance. Um, However, none of those things limit me to one respective field, because I always seek to understand, learn, and build on creative works, perspectives, and opportunities. That's one of my main premises as an artist or as a future employee to at either one of the respective companies that dominate the industry. My main thing is building a team and having a team to work, efficiently and most efficiently as possible. You know, making sure everyone is comfortable with everyone around and understands what the assignment is and what to expect from one another, whether shortcomings or talents or proceedings that puts that person in a position as to where like, oh, um, they're the best one, or here's the least of the best. Neither one, outweighs the other, because the least of the best could have something that the best needs, or the best would surely most likely have something that the least needs. I would take the least and the best and put them in the same group environment, because I guarantee you it's something that somebody has or that somebody's missing that one or the other may need. I'm a critical thinker. I like to always develop how to make the process more efficient and produce better quality. That's what I focus on, and not only that, but that's what I see that I want for myself as an artist. And not only that, but to also add flavor to what anyone may miss, because the main thing is, well, one of my things is things are excuse me, but one thing that I pick on that way is whether something has enough flavor or whether something has too much flavor. You know, whether something is in each perspective, they can overwhelm each other or overwhelm themselves. Without having, the or without having the right mixture. Everything from film to photography to painting, everything has to have a balance. 'Cause once something overweighs something, then that's what gives critics to pick on, or that's what gives critics a room of disagreement or agitation. What I want to fulfill as an artist is to be able to provide everyone with the you know, essentials that they need to enjoy the film, photo, or art piece. You know, that's one of my main perspectives. That's one of my main principles, is to be sure and to establish the security of things turning out the way they ought to be. The way that makes people skin crawl. I wish to establish the grounds that make each piece great. Because we always see one movie made, boom, it's always a killer or a banger on the first movie, and then the second movie comes out, we're all like, I like it, but it's cliche. I want to eliminate that speculation as an artist, and throughout whatever in my career that I pursue, I always want to have the audience guessing or excited to see the next work. Me as an artist, in a perspective, we always want to keep up the standard of having the best possible outcome of each one all the way up until the finish of the pipeline. You must put the best quality. You must put your best foot forward first. We want to focus on getting the main essentials and principles and values that create a good team to be on lockdown. Whatever has caused us to establish a great scene or movie, short film, and then boom, whatever that took, we need to lock that down. Everything that causes us to succeed, you lock it down. There's no question about what we need in the film industry. There's a lot of things that have been passed and moved forward, or even come out to astound us. However, the best films were made in the earlier times, you know. But me as an artist, that's what I wish to establish myself as. And again, my name is James Telfair, and I hope you remember that. And I hope whoever sees this video will allow me and welcome me to their studio